Hello, Internet. T here. Trey talking with Social Gadfly Anthony. We were thinking of talking about rituals as kind of a main thing. I just had this thought of rituals and habits and how they pertain to each other. But we're probably going to focus on rituals today. Hello, Gadfly. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's a good day.
Very good. All right. So, did you say you had some notes? Do you want to just bring those up, or do you just want to kind of willy nilly?
I got them up on here on I got two screens going up, so I'm looking at both. And I have I don't really have notes. I just have like different rituals that interest me.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
um,
kind of a list of rituals, yeah, to talk about.
yeah. So one of the things that I is near and dear to me is as a Freemason,
Mhm.
I'm very much into rites of passage or rites of initiatic rites of passage, like being initiated into a group. And so, um, one of the things that I don't get out of our society, or I do get, but it's like a cheap version of that, is like when people get into like binge drinking, over drinking at like age 21, or maybe tailgating or sports events can be rites of passages. Moving out when you're 18, that's a decent one, but it's uh, there isn't much in the way of meaning that I get out of a lot of those.
Yeah, meaning is pretty important, right?
Yeah. And I did get that when I joined Masonry, and they gave me a framework to kind of help create that even more in my life. So it's like I got the pattern set by them, and now I can like it can give me a framework in which I can do, that type of ritual and put it in other parts of my life and actually bring meaning back into our society.
Yeah. So just so that people don't think I'm hiding and stuff, I think that Freemasonry itself is a cult, which is spiritual takery. But that doesn't mean, like this guy Gadfly. I kind of think personally, this is my thought about him so far, is that he's a God follower. In case you don't follow my channel, God following is like my main thing. The Jesus, the Bible, basically a lot of people would call it Christian. I just like to be precise and stuff with my speech. So it's kind of interesting when I talk to you, Gadfly, that you're like, okay, well, this is what I found so far, but like my word for it would be like provisional. You're kind of just searching for something, and this is the something that you found. And so it's like, yeah, I kind of have empathy for that.
Yeah, and the part of my discovery is trying to find out why, because obviously Masonry has a history with the United States, and so there was a time in which we had rituals like that
Hmm.
in our society, and it seems like as the years went by, we just got rid of more and more rituals and symbols until they just get replaced by like commercial society.
Yeah. Um, so this is my thoughts right now, and actually it'd be cool to bounce off of you what you think about that. So let's see. I guess I'll just directly say kind of taking inspiration from others. I don't remember if it was the Mormons or what, but like a ritual as in okay, send out young men to like spread the gospel of Jesus or whatever, read the Bible to people. It almost reminds me of something like the Christmas caroling, which by the way you might categorize as a ritual, and we're talking about rituals. Um, so that kind of thing, is that like something you would think of as this kind of, what do we call it, initiatory rite? Or is that like not cool and it has to be cool? Or like what's in your mind?
Absolutely. I would say that would be something that perhaps I wouldn't be a Mormon, but I would venture to participate in Mormonism or any other group wherein there is something like that. I really think that the sending people out door to door is a great thing. Not that they're going door to door, but you have two people together doing some type of challenging exercise at a developmental stage of their life. They're going out into a strange land together and they have to work together to figure it out. and they have to stay there for a substantial amount of time, like 2 years, I think it is. So having it
Okay.
to where every person in your society, when they become 18, go out for a year or two with a partner, like different partner to do this challenging task with every 6 months is a great idea.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. So that was a little bit different from what I was thinking. So, interesting. Let's see. So bouncing off, then I'll do my bounce. So what I was thinking was, actually that's, that'd be valid from what I was thinking, but I was sort of narrowing it into my mind of like a trip. Actually, what was I thinking? Maybe like could do like one big thing is kind of what you're thinking. Maybe I was thinking of like multiple runs. Like let's say I was thinking a smaller thing of like once a week for 3 weeks, go out there, let's say for an entire day, spreading the Jesus, so like reading the Bible and, oh, this is, the Jesus, this is why you should follow him, this is his commands. That kind of spreading that it takes very much inspiration, I think, and my thoughts from the Jesus sent out his disciples, and it's not clear to me how long they were out there. Maybe it was closer to like just spending a whole year. So that's interesting. Um, yeah, a whole
Yeah,
year would be more substantial, wouldn't it?
yeah, especially to where, in my idea, I mean, I'm not like a expert on Mormonism, but
Right.
it seems to be that the idea is that you're kind of separate from the rest of everybody else, and you as companions on your mission have to look out for each other.
Hmm.
So it's kind of like that kind of pushes you and your missionary companion together.
Hmm. Yeah, and there does seem to be a specific thing in that specific ritual or whatever you would call that endeavor, that the partnership thing, like you are with this person, they are with you,
Yeah.
very specifically. Have you heard of Exodus 90? Because this is more reminding me of that.
Yeah, I think that I don't know a lot about XS90, but from what I do know about it, it does seem to be similar to what I'm talking about and would like to see.
Interesting. So yeah, I didn't even think about that really until this moment. That's interesting. I wonder if like who would call it a ritual. I guess provisionally I would call it a ritual. I don't even know much about what it is. I hear something about asceticism. I don't even know like these things. But that's interesting to me to think about that. So that's a modern day one. Some people like just this week were going on that, so that's interesting. So there are some things, I don't know. I'm trying to
There,
think of in um, my life
yeah,
rituals.
there. One of the rituals that is somewhat popular in America that I would like to participate in, that I do think has a decent amount of meaning and utility, is a Tough Mudder race.
Tough Mutter race?
Mudder.
Oh,
It's like this challenge where you run through mud and you climb up
oh. Okay,
you s-
Mudder. Mutter.
yeah, Mudder.
Okay.
Where you like run through mud and you kind of scale this rope wall and
Huh.
hop over this thing and that thing. It's like kind of an obstacle course like in the mud, but it's like tough.
Yeah, that's
And
exactly what I was thinking is obstacle course. I get it.
yeah, and you have to and people help each other like because it's a challenging thing. So like let's say you get
I
past a
would fucking love
particular
that.
yeah. Yeah. And that's one of the things that I would say I would like to do that I haven't done that is a positive kind of ritual that people do in America is like that seems awesome. And you help and like someone's stuck, you go out back and help them get over this particular obstacle and stuff like that. It creates camaraderie.
Interesting. So what my thoughts are turning to at this very moment is like a definition of like habit, of like ritual, and maybe some other supporting thoughts, concepts. Habit, I remember something about like skills. Someone was talking just recently about like you make neural networks in your mind and stuff. That was pretty cool in my opinion. But rituals, what was it? It's like it was talking about like the embodied practice of something. I don't know. What do you think?
Um, the way I would separate habit from ritual in my head would be that a ritual is basically a habit with a romantic aspect to it. There's like romanticism
Romantic.
involved. So like this
Whoa.
is something that I do, but this
Hmm.
time it's special.
Oh, that's very interesting. Would you use the word intimate?
Yeah, intimate.
Hmm.
Romantic. I like romantic because it has this idea of holiness to it, I think. Like where you say God is holy, like you're saying that he's special. It's like a romantic notion. He's the
Interesting.
one unique God.
So sacred, that would be a good word for that.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
This is a sacred part of my life, and that is the message that you're sending to both yourself and others. Like this is the real deal. This is what I'm into, like with all of my being or whatever.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting. So let's see, investment. Actually, that's I think great. What I'm thinking right now is so investment. So you're investing yourself in this endeavor, and I remember someone talking about like over time kind of thing, not just necessarily once. Like we're talking about initiatory rights, which would be a one-time thing, and you're talking about like a long, like 1 year thing that you do once in a lifetime, your entire life. Um, but rituals, so like overtime and like investing yourself in that thing, that's very interesting. So I think I would describe it as, categorize it as a spiritual endeavor, uh, which our society has kind of turned materialist, and so now this makes more sense. I feel like I'm fitting more of the puzzle together with like
Mm.
we have lost spiritual endeavors in our society. I don't know how much we used to do them. Maybe we kind of did them in an unconscious way, which kind of reminds me of what you said recently. Like, let's be conscious about, let's say, let's just call them American rituals, or there's Christian rituals with the Catholics and different such things. Um, that's so investing yourself in something. That's an interesting thought. It's like we humans, we need to be invested in something, uh, and then it kind of goes to religion. But let's try to focus on the rituals for now. Rituals. So like investing, maybe your spirit, yourself. I think yourself is a better word.
Uh,
Ritual, investing yourself.
here's kind of a Masonic way of viewing it. This is how we view the rituals that before you go into the ceremony, you would divest yourself. So an opposite of invest, you would divest
Hmm.
yourself of all things that could kind of interfere with the experience.
Hmm.
So that's kind of like the washing of your hands before you eat, because dirt on your hands could interfere with the meal, or leaving all the let's say you're going to meet with people and a congregation, it's putting all those cares of the world, leaving those at the door um, as you enter that sacred place, because you don't want those things from outside to interfere with that holy space. And then filling yourself with what the sacred space gives. So the ritual, you're taking stuff out that would interfere with it, and then the ritual itself, the experience is putting things into you.
Hmm. Would you call that a mental action?
Hmm. No, not precisely. No.
Okay. Spiritual, or do you just have like a third
Spirit, I
category?
would say spiritual. I would say
Okay.
spiritual.
All right. Cool. Hmm. So you do this spiritual action of, you said, divesting.
Yeah.
So like becoming an empty vessel. You're emptying your vessel. Is that kind of
Yeah.
uh,
Emptying, but also removing certain things. So like when
hmm,
Moses went to the burning bush, he took off his sandals. So like that was, you know, a way of getting rid of something.
huh.
Um, when before the priest goes into the holy holies, he like washes himself and does all these things to get rid of stuff that could interfere.
Hmm. Interesting. I feel like I'm at the edge of my my thought, and I'm just digesting. Um, divesting. So cleaning up, kind of throwing out the things that, because you're focusing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
so like there's partly maybe like, I don't know, would you say chaos, or just like these other things you don't care about as much, kind of officially, like consciously saying, okay, away with that, we're not with that anymore, uh, throwing it off, becoming new, investing after you divest.
Mhm. Yes, exactly.
Interesting. So, what was that scripture? The old person has uh, gone and the new has come. Hmm,
Yes.
interesting. Divesting and investing. And so then you go through that process and invest yourself in it. Hmm, okay. Um, let me ask, how long did your initiatory rite take?
There's a series of 3 of them,
Ah,
at
okay,
least initially, and
okay.
each one lasts about 3 hours, I would say.
Yeah, okay. Hmm.
It's pretty intense and overwhelming. You don't go out of it being able to absorb everything. It's meant to overwhelm you.
Right, yeah, if you're like investing yourself, like that wouldn't work if you could just kind of like, oh, I got it, and it's nothing. It's supposed to be something of substance kind of deal. So I get that. How
Yeah.
interesting. I'm trying to. One thing I'm trying to think in myself is if I've ever heard of anything in like church about that, or I guess maybe closer to like the early church, if they did anything like that. Like I'm sure personally that they did, and that we've just like not only stopped doing that, but like there has been wiped away the memory of such things. Like even so far as like it even exists. Like
Mm,
goodness gracious, to me it's just like tomfoolery is what it is, shenanigans, and it's like, you know, these things used to exist, people try to like wipe away history was I'm not even gonna like go into that part of it, but I'm trying to think any anything that I can think of as, okay, so baptism would be a ritual, right?
yeah, yeah. That one we still have.
Okay. So, but that's not like initiatory generally, at least the way I think about it, the way I was taught. It was closer to when you're a baby, maybe a small child. Um, you get baptized maybe later or whatever, and I see people that, they're adults by now, but it's like you're a spiritual child and growing spiritually is the kind of deal with that. But so then there's no like, okay, you're a teenager, like specifically, I think what we're thinking of is like a boy who is trying to become a man. Those have very different connotations.
Mm,
And so like in the in the church, that's not baptism, but so it's something like baptism, but for later in life. It's not when you're old, but when yeah, I keep coming back to like the teenager thing, and it's like so teen, like in between is the way I think of it. I don't know what other people think of it, but growing up, so a growing up ritual, and it's like solidifying. It's like you got the chaos. I don't know women, so I'm not even gonna. Maybe I'll talk to a girl about this later, but right now I'm talking about like men, and so like a boy becoming a man. It's like solidifying is what's in my thoughts. You got like this chaos of like boys. It's like a man being a rock is kind of a metaphor or something like that.
mhm.
And Jesus was the man, the rock. He actually, if I remember correctly, said like I am the rock or something like that. Maybe it was Peter I'm thinking about, I don't know. But so growing up into that spiritual maturity, into that like something that people can rely on. And so definitely solidifying is where my thoughts are going for right now. Chaos
Yeah.
to
Um,
order,
yeah, and so
prosperity to like hard
it's funny
chaos.
because basically what's happening when you go through within Freemasonry is that the initial ceremony is kind of help molding you into that rock, um, into that you could even say cornerstone, like that foundational rock.
Yeah, I'm kind of processing, digesting my thoughts right now. Um,
That's fine.
Man, I think I'm actually to the point of where I kind of just want to uh stop this and then kind of make another video if we need to because I'm like at the very edge. We're kind of stumbling through this
Yeah.
conversation, but I don't know what else to say. So it's like this sounds like it'd be really great once I've had some processing time that I don't want to like, spend half an hour here recording, just
Yeah.
silent thinking. So, sounds like you're willing. We'll go ahead and end this right here, and then we'll possibly do another one. It was great seeing you, Internet. Bye bye for now.